The battle for the ranch has finally reached a breaking point, and Episode 8 promises to deliver one of the most emotional and explosive chapters of the season so far. After everything that happened in the previous episode, the Dutton family is left wounded, angry, and more divided than ever. Secrets are coming to light, alliances are shifting, and enemies are preparing for a confrontation that could change the future of the ranch forever. The episode opens in the early hours of the morning. A cold wind moves across the valley as the ranch slowly wakes up after a sleepless night. Rip Wheeler stands alone outside the bunkhouse, staring toward the horizon. He hasn't slept. The events of the previous day continue to replay in his mind. The betrayal, the attack, and the growing threat against the family have pushed him to a place he never wanted to return to. For years, Rip has been the ranch's protector. He has handled every threat that came their way. But this time feels different. This time, the danger is personal. Inside the main house, Beth Dutton is equally restless. Although she appears calm on the outside, her anger continues to grow. Beth knows their enemies are not finished. Someone is making moves behind the scenes, and she intends to find out who it is before more damage is done. As she reviews documents and financial records, she notices something unusual. A series of land transfers and secret agreements connect several people she never expected to be involved. The deeper she digs, the more dangerous the situation becomes. Beth quickly realizes that the attack against the ranch may have been part of a much larger plan. Meanwhile, Carter is struggling with the consequences of his recent mistakes. He wants to prove himself, but every decision he makes seems to create new problems. Feeling responsible for some of the chaos surrounding the ranch, he begins taking risks in an attempt to make things right. Unfortunately, those risks could place him directly in the path of danger. As the day progresses, a mysterious stranger arrives near the ranch. Nobody knows who he is or why he has come. The workers become suspicious when they notice him asking questions about the Dutton family and their operations. Rip immediately senses something is wrong. The stranger claims he is simply passing through, but Rip doesn't believe him. The tension rises when one of the ranch hands discovers that the man has connections to a powerful organization that has been quietly buying land throughout the region. If those connections are real, the Duttons may be facing an enemy far larger than they imagined. Back in town, Sheriff Harlan receives information regarding a recent investigation. Evidence collected from multiple incidents points toward a coordinated effort to destabilize the ranch. The attacks weren't random. They were planned. Someone has been pulling strings from the shadows. The sheriff attempts to warn the Dutton family, but before he can share everything he knows, an unexpected event interrupts the investigation. A key witness disappears without a trace. Now the clock is ticking. Beth realizes they are running out of time. Whoever is behind this operation is cleaning up loose ends and preparing for the next phase of their plan. Later that evening, Rip gathers the ranch hands for an emergency meeting. The atmosphere is tense as everyone listens carefully. Rip explains that the ranch is entering dangerous territory. No one is safe. No one should travel alone, and everyone needs to be prepared for what comes next. His words send a chill through the group. For many of the workers, this is no longer just a job. It's a fight for survival. As darkness falls, Beth receives a phone call that changes everything. The caller refuses to identify themselves. They speak only a few words before hanging up. But those words are enough. The caller reveals information that only someone close to the family could know. Beth immediately realizes there may be another betrayal inside their circle. Someone they trust could be working against them. Determined to uncover the truth, she begins her own investigation. What she discovers leaves her shocked. The clues point toward a person she never suspected. A person who has been standing beside them all season. At the same time, Carter secretly follows a lead of his own. Believing he can help protect the ranch, he tracks down information connected to the mysterious stranger. However, he quickly finds himself in over his head. What begins as a simple search for answers turns into a dangerous encounter. By the end of the night, Carter is forced to make a decision that could have devastating consequences. Elsewhere, tensions continue to grow between local ranch owners and outside investors. Several families are being pressured into selling their land. Some have already given up. Others are fighting back. The Duttons find themselves at the center of this conflict. Many people are looking to them for leadership. But leading the fight comes with a cost. Every move they make puts a larger target on their backs. As episode 8 continues, viewers learn more about the true motives of the season's biggest villains. Their goal isn't simply to acquire land. They want control. Control of the region. Control of the resources. Control of the future. And anyone who stands in their way becomes a problem that must be removed. The revelation raises the stakes dramatically. This is no longer a personal feud. It's a war. In one of the episode's most powerful scenes, she confronts a major figure connected to the conspiracy. The conversation begins politely, but it quickly turns into a battle of threats and intimidation. Neither side is willing to surrender. The scene reminds everyone why Beth remains. Her intelligence and fearlessness make her a formidable opponent. Yet even she understands the risks involved. Because for the first time, she may be facing opponents who are just as ruthless as she is. Meanwhile, Rip receives troubling news regarding one of the ranch hands. An incident has occurred miles away from the property. The circumstances are suspicious. Rip immediately suspects foul play. He races to investigate before it's too late. What he discovers confirms his worst fears. The enemy has already begun making their next move. As the story builds toward its climax, multiple plotlines begin to collide. Beth's investigation. Rip's mission. Carter's dangerous choices. The sheriff's warnings. Everything is connected. The truth is finally beginning to emerge. And when it does, nobody will escape the consequences. One of the episode's most emotional moments occurs when Beth and Rip share a private conversation late at night. For a brief moment, the chaos surrounding them fades away. They discuss their fears, their future, and everything they stand to lose. It's a rare vulnerable moment that reveals how much pressure they are carrying. Despite all the violence and conflict, their relationship remains the emotional heart of the series. But even they know that peace may be impossible. The storm is coming. And when it arrives, everything could change. As episode 8 approaches its final act, a shocking discovery sends the ranch into crisis mode. Evidence surfaces proving that the enemy's operation extends much deeper than anyone imagined. Multiple individuals have been compromised. Critical information has been leaked, and plans for future attacks are already underway. Rip realizes there is only one option left. He must take action before the enemy strikes again. The episode's final sequence is packed with suspense. Vehicles move through the darkness. Phone calls are made. Weapons are prepared. All signs point toward an inevitable confrontation. The Dutton family gathers together, fully aware that the next 24 hours may determine the future of everything they have built. Then comes the final twist. Just when it appears they have identified the mastermind behind the attacks, a new revelation changes everything. The person they believed was responsible may only be a pawn. A larger force has been operating behind the scenes all along. The real enemy remains hidden. And their ultimate plan is only beginning. The episode ends with a dramatic cliffhanger as Rip receives an urgent message. His expression immediately changes. Without saying a word, he rushes toward his truck and speeds into the night. Beth watches him leave, knowing something terrible has happened. The screen fades to black before viewers learn what the message contained, leaving fans with countless questions. Who is truly behind the conspiracy? Can the Dutton family stop the takeover of their land? The future of the Dutton Ranch hangs by a thread in episode 8, and this time the danger doesn't come from the outside alone. It comes from a carefully planned operation designed to strike at the heart of the family. The episode begins before sunrise. A heavy fog covers the ranch as the cowboys prepare for another day of work. On the surface, everything appears normal. Horses are being saddled. Trucks are moving across the property. The ranch hands joke with one another as they gather near the barn. But something feels wrong. Rip Wheeler senses it immediately. For weeks, he has been expecting another move from the enemies targeting the ranch. Every instinct tells him that trouble is closer than ever. Inside the main house, Beth Dutton is already awake. She sits alone at the kitchen table reviewing documents she secretly obtained from a former business partner. The files reveal that a massive development company has quietly purchased thousands of acres surrounding the ranch. The company claims its goal is economic growth. Beth knows better. Someone is building a financial trap around the Dutton family, and she is determined to expose it before it is too late. As the morning progresses, Beth receives a text message from an unknown number. The message contains only a set of coordinates. No explanation. No name. No threat. Just coordinates. Most people would ignore it. Beth does not. She believes it may be connected to the information she has been investigating. Against Rip's advice, she decides to follow the lead herself. That decision will change everything. Several hours later, Beth leaves the ranch without telling anyone where she is going. At first, nobody notices, but by evening, concern begins to spread. Her phone goes straight to voicemail. She misses important meetings. And nobody can locate her vehicle. Rip becomes increasingly worried. Beth may be reckless. She may be stubborn. But she never disappears. Never. As darkness falls across Montana, Rip begins searching every location he can think of. He checks nearby roads. He contacts friends. He speaks with law enforcement. Nothing. Beth Dutton has vanished. Meanwhile, Carter notices something unusual near one of the ranch's remote boundaries. Fresh tire tracks lead into an area rarely used by visitors. Curious, he follows them. What he discovers sends chills down his spine. Hidden among the trees is an abandoned vehicle. The vehicle belongs to Beth. The windows are shattered. The driver's door is open. And there is no sign of her anywhere. Carter immediately calls Rip. Within minutes, the entire ranch mobilizes. Search teams spread across the surrounding wilderness. Helicopters are requested. Deputies begin investigating. But every hour that passes makes the situation more frightening. Someone has taken Beth. The question is why. Back at the ranch, panic slowly turns into frightening. Someone has taken Beth. The question is why. Back at the ranch, panic slowly turns into anger. Rip is barely holding himself together. Everyone around him can see it. The only thing keeping him focused is the hope that Beth is still alive. For years, Rip has faced dangerous men without hesitation. But this situation is different. For the first time, he feels powerless. And that feeling terrifies him. The next morning, a package arrives at the ranch. There is no return address. Inside is Beth's bracelet. The same bracelet Rip gave her years ago. Attached to it is a handwritten note. If you want her back, stop digging. The message confirms their worst fears. This was not a random kidnapping. It was planned. Someone wants to silence Beth. Someone is afraid of what she knows. As investigators analyze the note, Beth's recent discoveries become the center of attention. The land purchases. The secret meetings. The missing financial records. Everything points toward a powerful organization with resources far beyond anything the family expected. Whoever is behind this operation has money, influence, and connections everywhere. Even the sheriff begins to suspect that local authorities may be compromised. As Rip struggles to remain patient, Beth awakens in an unfamiliar location. She finds herself locked inside an old cabin somewhere deep in the mountains. Her captors remain hidden. She cannot see their faces. She has no idea where she is. But Beth refuses to be intimidated. Even in captivity, she remains defiant. When one of the kidnappers attempts to question her, Beth immediately turns the conversation against him. She insults him, challenges him, and makes it clear that she will never cooperate. Her courage surprises even her captors. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Carter becomes obsessed with finding Beth. Feeling partially responsible for not stopping her from leaving alone, he throws himself into the search. His determination eventually leads him to an important clue. A security camera from a gas station captures footage of Beth's vehicle being followed by a black SUV shortly before she disappeared. The footage is grainy. The license plate is difficult to read. But it gives investigators their first real lead. Rip wastes no time. He assembles a small group of trusted ranch hands and begins tracking every possible connection to the vehicle. What they uncover is alarming. The SUV is linked to a private security company known for handling sensitive operations for wealthy clients. Officially, the company provides protection services. Unofficially, rumors suggest, at first, people assume he simply left town. But his truck is later discovered abandoned on a back road. Now the fear spreading across the ranch becomes impossible to ignore. The enemy is targeting anyone connected to Beth's investigation. One by one, people are becoming victims. Determined to protect the remaining members of the ranch, Rip increases security measures. Armed patrols monitor the property. Checkpoints are established. Communication protocols are tightened. The ranch begins to resemble a military outpost rather than a family home. Yet Rip understands that these precautions may still not be enough. Because the enemy always seems one step ahead. Midway through the episode, Beth finally comes face to face with the individual responsible for her kidnapping. The reveal is shocking. The mastermind is not a businessman. Not a politician. Not a rival ranch owner. Instead, it is someone connected to a powerful corporation seeking to transform the entire region. Their plan extends far beyond the Dutton Ranch. Entire communities are scheduled for redevelopment. Thousands of acres are targeted for acquisition, and anyone who threatens the project must be removed. Beth's investigation brought her too close to the truth. That is why she was taken. The confrontation between Beth and her captor becomes one of the most intense scenes of the season. Neither side backs down. Threats are exchanged. Secrets are revealed. And Beth learns that the conspiracy reaches higher than she ever imagined. Meanwhile, Carter discovers another clue that changes everything. Using information found inside Beth's office, he identifies a hidden connection between the corporation and several recent incidents involving local ranchers. Suddenly, multiple unexplained events begin to make sense. The accidents. The threats. The financial pressure. It was all part of the same operation. As the pieces finally come together, Rip realizes there may still be time to save Beth. But locating her will require taking a dangerous gamble. Ignoring official procedures, he launches a private rescue effort. Joined by a handful of trusted allies, Rip follows every lead available. The search takes them deep into remote mountain territory. Every mile increases the tension. Every wrong turn wastes valuable time. And with each passing hour, Beth's situation grows more desperate. Back at the cabin, Beth makes her move. Using nothing but her intelligence and determination, she creates a distraction that allows her to escape her restraints. For a brief moment, freedom seems possible. She slips outside. Runs through the trees. And heads toward the wilderness. But her captors quickly realize she is gone. A frantic chase begins. The mountains echo with shouting voices and rushing footsteps. Beth pushes herself harder than ever. Knowing capture could mean death, she refuses to stop.